Hello, fictional. Welcome to the Fiction Series X. Today we are gonna see, what if Issei is transported into a realm of fantasy and Got Future Harem? The movie. If you end up liking this video, please consider subscribe, so without further ado, let's get into the video. Issei Hyoudou, now in his second year of high school, casually looks out of the window at the famous Khaos Academy at the clear blue sky. His light brown orbs trying to focus on something that he was sure was just in the back of his own lackadaisical imagination. Yet envisioned no completely engraved in his mind was that one moment. He swore he saw in the sky for just a moment shimmering black wings, reflecting in the sunlight. Hey now. Checking out the total hotties on the field are we? Rab. Timed in his ever as always perverted bald friend Mitsuda, who then immediately locked Issei into a death grip of a friendly chokehold. Making Issei immediately flail around yelling various obscenities which caused his own perverted nature kick in. Oog. This guy on guy bullshit isn't fun. I'd rather be slowly swallowed up by a gorgeous babe's flesh melons than be near your disgusting armpit. Issei whined over and over as his other perverted friend who wore glasses came over and tapped Mitsuda on the shoulder. Come on now, let Issei go. He's had enough punishment for not letting us join in on his stalking of young hotties. Motohama then pushed his glasses up on his face and gave a serious grin before continuing his sentence. So Issei, what the hell are you even looking at? I don't even see any girls out on the field today. Issei quickly felt an uneasy sensation dwelling in the bottom of his stomach that left a bad taste in his mouth. His left hand up to his arm quickly twitched and had a sharp pain that made Issei quickly grab it and wince. His two perverted friends were going on quietly about a new episode of Kamen Rider Pinky, a type of animated porn, as Issei tried to seem as normal as possible until the final bell rang, signaling it was time to go home. Well, I'm gonna go to the spot by the old school building to rest a bit before I go home. You guys wanna join me? Issei directed his speech to Mitsuda and Motohama, who immediately turned and declined at the same time. Hell no, we are gonna go and watch the new DVDP. Biggs. Two girls walking by made a disgusted face and muttered the word which made Issei's two buddies tone down to a whisper. We are going to go watch our adult gentleman disc. Real sorry Ice. We've been waiting for weeks for this. Shit, what great friends you are. Issei said sarcastically, which made his two friends laugh and wave goodbye as they walked the opposite way down the hallway. Issei himself then made headway to the old school building and sat down on the fresh grass, propping himself up on the building as he looked up at the sky. Black wings. The memory of those wings made his stomach drop and his left arm started hurting again, as if it was a sign of danger. Issei saw something move out of the corner of his vision and quickly peered up to the window. She had flowing crimson locks that danced so lightly in the wind as it gently blew, her skin was alabaster white and flawless, her eyes were like shimmering sapphires, and her bust was phenomenally large, even for someone looking so young. She was like a goddess, and Issei couldn't stop ogling her. Who? Is that? Iraq is amazing, but her eyes seem so sullen, like she is all alone. Issei said to himself out loud as he kept his eyes locked on hers for about 2 minutes, until the beautiful woman simply walked away from the window. Issei then got up and started walking home. On the way home he stopped at the usual bridge to watch the sunset, his mind still focused on two things. The crimson goddess's huge rack and those black wings he thought he saw earlier that day. Excuse me. Issei didn't notice the ebony-haired woman behind him, her face flustered and her hands trembling as she clutched at her school uniform skirt. Excuse me? Are you Hyoudou Issei? Issei looked out of the corner of his eyes, and his eyes widened in disbelief at the attractiveness of the blushing female behind him. More to his surprise that she knew his name even though he was sure she went to a different school than him. Whoa are you? The girl slowly looked up at Issei, her cheeks redder and his eyes slightly teary as she stuttered out words that would change the events of the perverted high schooler's life in a very different way than his fantasies. My name is Yuma, and if it's not too much trouble. I would like you to be my boyfriend. Issei blinked and then stared at her for almost a minute as his mind tried to recoil from the weight of the girl's mere sentence. Was the only logical response from the boy's dumbfounded mouth as he glanced the beautiful girl up and down. As Issei eyed the young girl, he felt an uneasy sensation in his stomach and a small vibrational ripple in his left hand, making it shake slightly. What do you mean? I mean, of course. I'd love to go on a date with you. Issei shouted a little too loud at the girl, thinking it would cause her to run off. Scared, he was surprised when the girl smiled and jumped up slightly. Great. I'll see you tomorrow then. The young girl ran off, bouncing and skipping on her way out of Issei's sight, leaving Issei standing there with another dumb look on his face. Holy shit, I got a fucking girlfriend, fuck yeah. Wait. I got a girlfriend. I don't know what to do. Issei was skipping down the stairwell, his mind in a state of blissful anxiety, half filled with perverse thoughts about what having a girlfriend means, and half filled with figuring out what to do for the date. Suddenly he felt a large pulsation inside of his left hand that rippled all the way into the center of his chest. Issei fell down on his knees, only to find himself inside of some void, with fire raging as far as the eye could possibly see. Well, are you just going to sit there on your knees like an ungrateful dog, or are you going to be a man and stand up to look at me? Partner. Issei slowly got back up on his 2 feet, shielding himself from the torrent of flames that cascaded this other world he was transported to. Surprised to himself, the flames didn't burn or affect him in any way, but he could feel power emanating from them. Where the hell am I? Who the hell is saying that? Partner, am I dead? God, is that you? Issei was in a panic as one moment he was on cloud 9 and now he has been cast down into the depths of a fire-filled hell. A laugh boomed from the torrents of flame that shook the realm. Ahahahaha. I am the heavenly dragon that stole dominion from God. I am Drake, the Welsh dragon, the mighty red dragon emperor. I have been speaking to you for years, but it appears you were too weak to hear my voice. Suddenly the torrents of flame parted as a gigantic crimson dragon emerged and let out another booming laugh roar toward Issei. The dragon then lowered his head to Issei and looked him straight in the eye, making Issei practically jump back a few feet. Okay, I'd like to stop dreaming now or come back to life. Hello, please help. Issei felt his left hand start to hum until a sharp stabbing pain went through it, making him clench his teeth. Slowly a small crimson gauntlet with a large emerald jewel appeared on his left hand, giving the appearance of a fingerless glove cosplay item, except it had the weight of armor. Wow, what the hell is this thing? What the hell is going on? The flames slowly disappeared around him as his surroundings became that of the normal reality that he grew used to. His left hand was also back to normal, but something was off. He was in his bed when he clearly passed out near the stairs where he met Yuma. Oh shit. Yuma, the date. Oh man. What the hell do I do? Issei raised his hand up in the air and stared at it for a few minutes, recalling the strange dream he had earlier. Red Dragon Emperor Drake. Welsh Dragon. Issei closed his eyes once again, almost drifting into a deep slumber until he felt a small amount of pressure sink into his mattress, which made him peek through slits. His eyes then widened as his nose slightly dripped blood at the sight of what was in front of him. Creak. Yuma was straddling over him with wearing a very slim and sexy leather Bonbeep outfit. Her eyes were a dark shade of violet with black slits for pupils. Her chest was definitely expanded out a few cup sizes, but the most striking accessory were the shimmering black wings that adorned her back. Yuma, how did you get in here? Wait, what is that on your? Issei's stomach started to feel like he was falling as he stared into her eyes that bore a large intent, the intent to kill, the intent to destroy, the intent to rid something disgusting. She gave him a hateful, disgusted look and wore a sadistic and insane grin pressed on her pale lips. Ahahaha. I was surprised you woke up and didn't give me the pleasure of fully massacring you in your precious sleep, little Issei. Issei was about to scream for help into two hands made him stop before he could let it out. A hand gripping his throat with a deep grip to rival Mitsuda's and a hand on his mouth, pressing hard on his jaw. Issei flailed back and forth in his bed against the attacker he was going to call a girlfriend. I was going to save her waiting to kill you tomorrow, but someone who is as dull as you probably would have killed me by going on a terribly boring date. This is so much fun. I get to toy with you now. I get to hear your sweet screams of agony as I take your life. Like I did to your miserable parents. Issei's eyes opened wide at the sound of her words, and tears started to escape his eyes as he looked up at the now sadist Yuma, who was clearly inhuman. The creature killed his parents and will now take his life. This sucks, I won't even get to lose my virginity. I wonder if Motohama and Mitsuda will cry when they find out I'm dead. Issei thought this as he felt fire boil inside of his very core of his being. He opened his eyes and glared at the creature with black wings in front of him. In his pupil sparked a flicker of green that caught the creature's attention because she immediately tightened her grip to the point that his throat should have collapsed, yet it didn't. Why don't you die already, you weakly lowly pathetic woman? BZZT, BZZT, BZZZZZZZZZ. The crackling sound emanated from the woman's palm as energy condensed into a spear made of a violet light. Yuma took her hand off of Issei's throat and kept his mouth covered as she started laughing loudly in a wickedly sadistic tone. I don't want to die, please. I want to live. I don't want to die. I don't want to die. I don't want to die. Issei screamed in his head while it was like time slowed down to a painful pace. The woman ready to strike him down into nothing, straddling him and cackling at his pain. Ahahaha. You look so cute when you're about to die. You're so stupid, you fell for my little act all along. My name's Amanoi Yuma and I want you to be my boyfriend. The black-winged woman slammed the spear of light down into the boy's human stomach, making it impale him. Issei coughed up blood onto the woman's hand, which made her take it off and look at it. The woman started to lick up the blood out of her hand and chuckled darkly. "Oh, don't die too quickly on me, I'm just now getting all hot after I had your delicious blood." The womanly creature leaned in close to Issei's ear as she whispered in a seductive and sultry tone. "You know, I chose the name Yuma because I was going to kill you tomorrow at sunset. I'm glad I didn't because this is so much more fun. If you stay alive long enough you might get lucky even. It would be a parting gift. Aren't I just the best girlfriend? To put myself out to a disgusting piece of filth. Yuma bit down hard on Issei's neck, making his almost lifeless body get a surge of pain and a tinge of pleasure as the sadistic woman started to rub his crotch through his pants before letting go of his neck. My, you're still all spunky even though you're dying, you silly little virgin. Issei's eyes start to dim as he felt the last of his life fade slowly from the loss of blood. His consciousness barely holding on by a simple thread. Feeling disgusted that his dying body was being tormented by the love he could say he fell in love with. "I don't want to die. Heartbeat. Heartbeat. I don't want to die. Boost. 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 Boost." Issei's body was given a surge of power, his eyes glowed a deep emerald as his auric field grew in size, making the fabric of reality warp from the unleashing of this hidden energy. "What the hell is this? Your sacred gear was supposed to be a fucking twice critical. Yet, your auric field is that of something more than human." Issei rose up and gripped the woman by the throat and stood up on the bed, his glowing emerald eyes casting fear deep into the parts of her black corrupted soul. The area that was bleeding was now sealed and replaced by a small piece of armor instead. The gauntlet on Issei grew larger, almost taking up his whole arm, and was slowly spreading. Who am about to awaken. This is how it always was. This is always how it shall be. The woman started to slightly sob as she felt the crushing force of energy. She didn't want to die. She knew she was going to feel a hellish pain to rival those that she struck down in the past without thought or mercy. Without warning, the boy stopped as his energy levels started to level out. His eyes lost the emerald glow that shows possession of the sacred gear. He growled and punched the woman in the face hard enough for her to fly through the wall into the hallway. Crack. Snap. Smash. The woman spat up blood and tried to crawl away, feeling a few bones were snapped. Cough cough hack. I have to get out of here, I have to get to Azazel, he's gonna kill me, he's going to eviscerate me. She tried to stand up and get to the window she came in through until she felt a strong pull on her wings, which made her cry out in pain. "You bitch, you killed my parents. You tried to kill me. You played with my feelings. I will never forgive you. I'm going to rip your wings off." Issei growled as he gripped onto both black wings while putting his foot into the middle of Yuma's back and pushing on it as he pulled the wings apart. Rip. Crack. Rip rip crack crack. Sickening sounds of flesh tearing and bones breaking, followed by the painful howls of the woman in front until the wings were ripped off. Slam. Issei panted as the woman simply fell flat on her face, passed out from the extreme shock of the pain. Wah. Wah. Ooh, aig. The large emerald aura surrounded Issei as the house started to fall apart from the massive surge of energy. The burst of energy soared into the sky, making the clouds swirl around the beam. The energy could be seen and felt for miles as it unleashed a destructive intent. The presence of the energies Issei was emanating were felt by certain members that were held up in the old school building at Kuo Academy. The crimson-haired goddess that Issei once saw was standing in front of the window watching the beam of light in the sky. My, what is that energy I feel? It feels like an energy that could rival the great devil king and god himself. The voice called out from darkness as it silhouetted the figure making the voice until the light grew brighter, making her violet eyes and raven hair in a ponytail show. Akeno. I don't know, but it is very dangerous. We should go check it out immediately. Kiba, Kaneko. Let's go. A blonde-haired boy and a silver-haired little girl, along with the crimson-haired woman and the raven-haired woman, stepped onto a crimson circle of sigils and light. Slowly they all disintegrated into nothing to appear in front of Issei's house. All of them had to shield their eyes from the intense burning light, almost like an emerald flame that surrounded the entire house. Inside, Issei lay on his knees with his hands clutching his head, screaming at the top of his lungs, his entire body almost covered up by a crimson armor with various emerald jewels embedded inside. The jewels were glowing and rapidly flashing as a deep voice kept repeating over and over the same word. Boost. 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 Ooh, raig. Issei felt like his mind was being stretched to unfathomable distances as his body was slowly being torn apart, blood gushed through the armor. the power becoming critical and destroying his mental and physical being. The top of the house is now completely obliterated and Issei can be seen by the other 4 people watching him outside. President. What is that? The blonde known as Kiba shouted as he pointed up at the half-armored boy screaming as ripples of energy start leveling out more of the house. The crimson-haired woman widened her sapphire orbs at the sight before her and trembled slightly. That's the sacred gear, one of the 12 Longinus. Boosted gear. The gauntlet of the Red Dragon Emperor. Akeno, put up a strong barrier immediately. Kiba, guard Kaneko. Kaneko, stay with Kiba. I will go alone, you would all be disintegrated if you get too close to that energy. The trio that the crimson-haired woman commanded nodded, went to do their jobs, as the crimson-haired woman outstretched a pair of bat-like demonic-looking wings and flew upstairs. She then set up her own barrier with a crimson glyph glowing brightly in front of her. She slowly approached the slumped mass on the ground and saw the young boy with his body covered in armor almost completely. His screams started to get deeper and sound more like the roar of a mighty beast, a dragon. Laying before the boy was a woman, a fallen angel with her wings ripped off and her passed out, bleeding profusely. Riaz felt apprehensive about this tactic, yet something inside of her felt connected to this event, like it was fate. She mustered up her courage and with her magical bullet ready to fire through the crimson glyph. Her palms were shaking at the great power that was in front of her. She was terrified, but she knew she must act. Dragon. I am Riaz Gremory of the House of Gremory. The sister of the Devil King Crimson Satan. I command you to enter back into the sacred gear or face death by the power of destruction. Issei, his eyes glowing green, stood up and looked at the one that called herself Riaz, his body pouring out blood as he turned to face her. Riaz's eyes widened at the sight she saw. It was him, the boy that she saw looking at her. The boy that she sensed a powerful energy emanating from. I, who am about to awaken, am the heavenly dragon who has stolen the principles of domination from God. This is it. It has always been this way. On. Riaz growled and shot a ball of black fire at the armored boy to try to knock sense into him without killing him. Quickly trying to think of a way to calm the boy down, she saw the only choice was to render him immobile. If I get Akeno to hit him with a powerful thunder attack, it should knock him out cold without killing him, since his heart is being protected by the boosted gear. Akeno. Use your thunder to hit the boy at full power. If he boosts more than 20 more times, this entire city will be leveled. Boost. 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 I laugh at the infinite and I grieve at the dream. I shall become the Red Dragon of Domination. It's the only choice. It's the Juggernaut drive. Issei's aura started to shape the form of a large dragon as the energy skyrocketed to the point that even God would be afraid. Akeno quickly shot up into the sky, her face was lit up as she practically becoming aroused, licking the tip of her finger with a wicked smile. My, this is going to be fun. I've never defeated a dragon before. It's making me so hot. Hehe. B B B B B Z Z Z Z Z T T T B B B B Z Z Z Z T T B B B B Z Z Z Z Z Z Z Z Z Z. Akeno created 3 yellow-colored sigils in the sky on top of each other. Her violet eyes narrowing slightly as she shouted the word. Thunder. B B B B B B B B B B B B B B B Z Z Z Z Z Z Z Z Z Z Z Z Z Z T T T T T T T T T T T T T T T T. Ayagaya. A torrent of lightning slammed through the 3 sigils and hit Issei with a powerful blast that made him scream out of agony. The armor around his body cracked and shattered. The boy flew back onto his back as blood erupted from his mouth onto his chest. His eyes closed as he passed out completely, his body leaking blood from various wounds on him. President, who is this boy? Kiba asked as he flew up to look at the young man laying on the ground and the body of a doomed fallen angel. He's a human. That possesses a great power. He will die because of that power. We were lucky we came in time, or else he would have turned into a dragon and lost his sanity. He would have gone berserk and attacked anyone and everyone. Such is the power of the cursed boosted gear. Issei's eyes slowly opened, his vision was blurry and his body felt extremely heavy and soaked with something. Blood red like. Her hair. Issei's words caused everyone's eyes to widen as they looked over at Riaz and then back at the boy. Alright, I have decided to make you a servant to me. The heiress of the House of Gremory. From this day on. You will be a devil. What is your name? Issei, barely holding on to life as he slowly strains himself to mutter his name as he chokes on his blood. Hyoudou Issei. His head dropped to the side as his life force exited his body completely, his body now lay still and dead. Riaz came to his side and placed 8 chess pieces of a pawn onto his body as another sigil now lay under Issei. Hyoudou Issei, I, Riaz Gremory. Call your wandering lost soul back to your body so you may be reborn as a devil. The chess pieces turned crimson and slowly sank inside of Issei, making his life force come back, but he was so exhausted he didn't wake up at all. President Rias, the boy's parents, seemed to have been killed by the fallen angel over there. Khaos glared at the collapsed body of Yuma and was about to kill her when Rias put her hand up to stop her. Khaos. No, this may be a good chance to add more power to our ranks with this woman at our mercy and now wingless. She has no choice but to join us. Crunch crunch groan. The fallen angel started to wake up and pant from the pain that was now shocking her system. She slowly tried to crawl as she wept loudly and shivered in pure terror, blood trailing behind her. Azazel, help me please, help me please, he's going to kill me please, dear God. Rias walked in front of the crawling fallen one and kicked her over on her back, making the woman scream in pain more. The fallen angel. Praying to God, that is more pitiful than you can imagine. You can either die from those wounds or you can join me. Azazel will not accept you without wings, your days as a fallen are over. You are just an abomination to them now. The fallen angel looked up at the daughter of Satan and started crying more as she shook. I am sorry. I'm sorry. Please forgive me for I have sinned. Rias glared and pointed toward Issei as everyone else was watching the scene unfold. You will have to tell him that. You killed his parents, you ended his life as a human and made him face a power so strong it almost ripped him apart. In exchange, he only ripped off your wings when could have easily ripped you apart with his energy. He must have loved you before you twisted his fate so suddenly without reason. The now outcast fallen angel looked over at the boy and shivered as she curled up in a ball with her knees tucked in. My name is Rainer. If you truly accept me then I will fight for you since you have spared me and I cannot go back to the other fallen angels. Rias smirked and then let out a sigh now that the worst was over for now, plus as an add-on she obtained 2 new servants and one had much promise and power. Good choice, Rainer. I have decided something else like a punishment for you since you have destroyed Issei's life. You from now on are like his pet. You will guard him and help him to become stronger. If you disobey and cause harm to him you will pay a price worse than death. I will hand you over to Azazel myself as you will be branded a stray as well as a traitor, you will face worse than death. Rainer's eyes widened in total fear as they glanced over to the boy and then back at Rias. She gulped and nodded at the request. Issei moved slightly and coughed up blood again as he lightly let out a name. The name made Rainer feel incredibly guilty for the events that happened. Yuma, help me please, no, don't kill me. I love you. Issei started to shiver and shake as Rias picked him up in her arms and held onto him. Ria's eyes looked very sullen and dim as she stroked his face gently. Khaos, you take Rainer since she cannot fly nor teleport. Khaos nodded slowly and picked Rainer up while Rainer moaned from the pain and shivered from the blood loss. Her body was covered in dried blood as her wings were now mere stubs. You grab some clothes and things for Issei, he has no home here now. I wouldn't want him coming back to this now forsaken place anyways. Quickly starts to gather some things in some bags he found scattered around the remains of the house as Khaos takes off flying to the headquarters of the young devils, holding the fallen angel in her arms. I am sorry you had to go through this, my adorable servant. Rias continued to stroke Issei's bloodied face and look at him with worry in her eyes as the teleportation sigil appeared on the ground. Kaneko, Kiba and Rias holding Issei all teleported back into the main clubhouse. Khaos was standing there beside the fallen angel laying on the couch on her stomach. We need to clean these wounds on the both of them or else they will get infected quickly. I leave the fallen angel in your care, Khaos, I will handle Issei's wounds. Rias walked into the shower area with Issei still in her arms, using her magic to turn the water on as she becomes drenched along with the unconscious boy. Rias started to strip off her now soaked clothes, followed by Issei's torn clothes, and hugged Issei tightly from behind. Her naked body flush against his own. You cannot give up on me, Issei, I will heal you with my power. We would be good together. The Crimson Princess of Ruin and the Red Dragon Emperor. The large crimson aura seeped out of Rias and started to attach to Issei, feeding him highly charged demonic power straight into his being. The blood on his body starting to come off from the torrent of hot water. The wounds on him started to close, only the minor ones though. The deeper, more serious wounds were still open and slightly bleeding. It looks like you'll be sleeping with me tonight. My power while awake isn't enough to heal you. Khaos silhouette appeared in behind the shower curtain as she softly spoke. President Rias, I have brought towels for you and Issei, as well as some bandages to stop the bleeding. Rias smiled and looked down at Issei with less worry this time as she felt the power he had contained inside of him radiating, mixing with her own. Thank you, Khaos, how is the fallen angel Rainer doing? Akeno bows lightly and smiles from behind the shower curtain. The smile was forced as she was very uneasy with keeping a fallen around. The worst part was pairing her up to the person she caused the most pain and suffering to. Her wounds are cleaned, it seems the bleeding has stopped completely and she is now asleep. Are you sure about keeping her around? She is the enemy and did try to know she did kill that boy Issei. Riaz opened the shower curtain and grabbed a towel from the rack on the side of the shower door, covering herself as she looks at Issei laying on the floor. That is true, but I think it's about time we start in a different path than that of the old days. I showed her mercy on the boy's behalf. He had every moment to completely disintegrate her. He had the full power of the dragon at that point. Besides, I find it better for her to receive her punishment by the hands of the one she unjustly tried to punish. Riaz turned the water of the shower off and picked up Issei's naked body. A slight blush crept up on her cheeks which she dismissed as the hot water finally getting to her. Akeno held out a towel and Riaz laid him down in it, both of them then wrapping it around him. Akeno, I do not want you nor anyone to disturb me while I heal up Issei. His wounds are still critical, so I must have total concentration of my demonic power. Riaz walked out of the shower and to the door that led her to her room in the clubhouse. She closed the door and locked it, laying Issei down on her bed. She examined his wounds and wrapped up the ones that were bleeding with the bandages. She stripped off her towel and Issei's as she laid down holding him tightly with her breasts against his bare back. Seeping her demonic energy into him as she slowly enters into slumber, holding Issei protectively. Where am I? What happened? I feel something soft. And warm. It's enveloping my body. It feels nice. Am I dreaming? Am I dead? The last thing I remember is getting killed by Yuma. Yuma. She killed me. Is this heaven then? Issei slowly opened up his heavy eyelids to see he wasn't in his room at all anymore and that he was covered in bandages. More than that, he has blood on him still dried. Wait a moment, whose arm is that around my waist? Wait a moment, what is that pressing against my back? MMMMNN. Issei slowly turned his head and looked out of the corner of his eye at see a stunning shade of crimson fill his vision. His hand reached back and touched something soft that was touching his back. NNNN. MMMNNN. Issei screamed at the top of his lungs as he leapt out of bed only to wince and fall to his side. His eyes widened as his face lit up to a crimson that would rival Ria's hair. Issei scanned the woman's naked body and realized what he touched. He then realized he was stark naked as well. What the fuck is going on? Riaz heard Issei's voice and slowly opened her eyes before rubbing them. She stretched a slight bit and made a small cute yawn, smiling at the almost fully recovered pawn in front of her. Good morning. Issei's nose gushed a small amount of blood as he saw the whole view, and I mean the whole view. What the hell, why are you naked? Why am I naked? Why am I in your bed? Riaz stretched again, which made Issei quickly look away and cover his nether regions quickly. I can't sleep unless I'm naked, and besides it's the best way to transfer my demonic energy to heal you properly. By the way, how's your stomach where you were stabbed? Issei's eyes widened as he remembered most of everything that happened and clenched his fist until it made his entire body hurt. He winced and coughed up a slight bit of blood as he fell to his side. Tears started to pour from him as he shook. The shock of the memory being too much. So. I did actually die, and my parents. They too are. Riaz heard a knock on the door and flicked her wrist, the latch of the door becoming unlocked by the force of her demonic power. The door opened and Akeno walked inside along with someone who was wrapped in a lot of bandages. My, I didn't expect to see both of you completely naked. Akeno held her hand up to her mouth to stifle a small giggle which made Issei turn red again and grab the towel on the floor near him to cover himself up. Issei, you need to get back on the bed with me, your wounds are not yet fully healed to where you can move. You already coughed up blood, which means the power of the boosted gear has harmed your internal organs. If you continue to strain yourself, you will die again, and once you become a devil and die. There really is no bringing you back like last time. Issei slowly crawled up towards the bed, only to be picked up bridal style by Akeno placed on the bed. Making Issei 30% more uncomfortable than before as he has been seen naked by the two great sisters of Kuo. Not to mention the fact he slept with one of them naked. Wait. Naked. We slept together naked, does that mean? Akeno giggled again, and Riaz joined in as she pulled Issei back with her arms crossed over his chest. Ria's full naked breasts pressing against his back again as he felt her demonic energy going into his body again. It's okay, Issei, I still have my purity. We didn't do anything except snuggle together all night long. Issei felt a small sense of relief, yet something was still bothering him. The feeling that he was getting from that person in the bandages was odd. The figure that was bandaged slowly walked up to Issei, only to then get down on her knees and bow. Lord Hyoudou Issei, my name is Rainer, and from this moment on I am your pet and guardian. Please take care of me as I take care of you. Issei tried to understand in his brain the words that the obviously bandaged up female in front of him on her knees. Did she just call me Lord? Wait, pet, she looks and sounds like Yuma. Issei's eyes gained a small tint of green as he starts to growl, his left arm manifesting the aura to create the boosted gear. He looks down dead into the trembling violet orbs of the fallen angel that ruined his life. Boost. 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 The boosted gear came back, only in a different form. It looked as if his left arm wasn't human anymore, it radiated a powerful energy. Not only that, it's only supposed to boost up every 10 seconds. Issei brought back his fist as he stood, his eyes welling up with tears, his body shaking, blood seeping out of his mouth. Issei slammed his fist full force forward into Rainer's face, which made her fly across the room out of the door. Smash. Her vaulting body was sent out the window with a loud shattering sound. Kiba and Kaneko were making their way to the clubhouse as this happened to occur. Kaneko caught the rebloodied fallen angel before she hit the ground. Aha. Ga. Issei's gauntlet disappeared as he dropped onto his knees, blood projecting from his mouth onto the floor in front of him. He didn't pass out, he just stayed there, crying his eyes out. Why did this happen to me? Kaneko walked to the door, and Kiba knocked on the side of it lightly. Kaneko had Rainer in her right hand, while her left held her nose, showing her obvious disgust in the smell of blood. I brought it back. So. Ice was the one to punch her out of the window. Rainer groaned in pain as she slowly crawled in front of Issei, her head bowed as she spoke. Please forgive me, my lord. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. If it will repent my sins. I allow you to break me or punish me in any way. Rainer, deep inside, she felt completely disgusted with herself to the point it was making her feel physically sick. Never in her life did she ever expect to say those words to anyone ever. Especially not to someone who was a human now turned devil, and to add onto it she was a pet. A lowly thing to be used and then discarded until needed again down the long road. She was lower than dirt and it made her sick. She still felt that feeling inside of her, the feeling of total guilt eating away her very being and sanity. Rainer, leave me alone. Get out of my sight before I kill you with my own two bare hands. I don't want to at the moment. I'd rather not kill you, but I can't handle seeing you right now. So please, before my heart hurts anymore. Please go away for now. Issei didn't look at Rainer, he kept his glance to the side as his teeth stayed clenched, a mixture of crimson and emerald flaring inside of his aura. Rainer understood, and like a pet, like a dog, she exited the room, holding back the strain of tears that were welling up in her eyes. She found an unlocked door and made her way inside the dark room, closing the door and sobbing quietly. He showed me mercy, for the second time now. Even though I deserved to die. Even though I caused him so much pain, he is like no red dragon emperor I've heard of. He's different. Oh god. What do I do in this situation? Issei. Are you okay? I think we need to sleep more to fully heal some of those wounds. I'm sorry, I let her live on your behalf. I told her to be a guardian to you and your pet as punishment. Rias gently slid off of the bed and embraced Issei once again. Through all of the emotional backlash, Issei forgot he was completely naked. Issei immediately freaked out and covered himself as he blushed furiously. He looked up to find both Kiba, Kaneko, and Akeno staring at him. He quickly grabs the towel and wraps it tighter around his waist. Can you get dressed now? Rias hugged Issei tighter and released more of her demonic energy inside of his body to try and further heal the wounds that just reopened from his performance earlier. I'm afraid I have to heal you all over again. My adorable Ice. So now let's get back on the bed and go to sleep. Akeno started to leave the room along with Kiba and Kaneko. Before shutting the door completely, Akeno poked her head in. Now, don't have too much fun, you lovebirds. Issei gulps as Rias pulls him back into the bed and then snuggles up against him, pulling the towel off. Rias shakes her head and sighs lightly as she stroked Issei's head softly. Rias. How am I still alive after Rainer killed me? Rias pondered for a moment on what to tell him, how to describe to him that he wasn't human anymore or. After he unleashed his boosted gear to the max, the damage his body now has. How do I tell him that he is far from human, a devil? No, a hybrid of dragon and devil. Issei. Rainer didn't kill you, in a way you killed yourself by your own power overloading your body. You were turning into a dragon. Issei looked at his left hand and clenched his fist slightly. Deep inside his mind he was cursing himself and this power that ruined his life and the lives of his innocent parents. In the end, to stop you I had Akeno hit you with a thunder spell when you were charging for a final attack. You seemed to come out of your trance at the same time. The attack would have obliterated the town. You had lost an extreme amount of blood from the transformation. I had no choice but to revive you as a devil since I am a devil and so is everyone you saw in the clubhouse today. Issei perked up slightly and turned around a bit to look Ria's in her eyes, his shoulder bumping one of Ria's full breasts and making them jiggle. The movement caused Ria's to blush ever so slightly and giggle. The reaction made Issei blush again and start to get nervous. The situation again that he is naked while naked with Ria's Gremory in her bed. Wait devil. Devil you Kaneko, Akeno, and Kiba too wait. Me I'm a devil. Like total clockwork magic as soon as Issei said those last 3 words his own wings came through, one was black like a bat's wing without all the extra skin. The other was not a devil's wing at all. It was a bright crimson wing that definitely resembled a dragon. Ria's was shocked to say the least, but not surprised since the transformation was on half of his body. Wah. Aya. Issei completely fainted after hearing the news that he is not human and seeing the fact clearly that he is not human. Too much of an information on his brain in that dire time of stress. Issei was not a full devil at all, he was transcended past that. A human turned devil at the same time as being possessed by the Red Dragon Emperor. Ria's was absolutely sure that her gamble would pay off well, as Issei was the perfect pawn. That's it, just rest for now Issei, soon I will need to start your training. So just sleep peacefully. Ria's lay down once more with her arms wrapped tight around Issei, burying his sleeping face in her busty bosom as she once again injected her demonic power into him. Open your eyes, partner. Your body and mind are resting, but your soul is projected into my realm. Issei slowly opened his eyes to find the face of the mighty terrifying dragon Drake, staring him in the eyes with his own deep crimson orbs. As a matter of fact Drake was a little too close for Issei's comfort. I see you have gotten stronger since you awakened my power inside of your left arm. Giving up your left arm to me in return to gain the power to avenge your parents. Yet, in the end you cowered and showed the foe mercy. Yes. I did show her mercy, even though I wanted to splatter her against the wall. I still felt that love for her in my heart. Even though she totally destroyed my life. I still can't kill her. Drake let out a hiss of smoke and pulled his head back, settling down as he closed his eyes and breathed softly. I see you truly are the weakest one I have come to possess, you are also the most kind. Those who possess the red dragon of domination are vicious and heartless. Your heart while you are a lecherous pervert is pure and shimmering. You and I are one now. You possess a small amount of my body and power now. You hone my right wing, eventually you will absorb me completely and become that dragon. You will become a dragon Hyoudou Issei. Issei was taken aback by the response of Drake as he thought it was impossible for all of these events. It made him feel psychotic as he wasn't used to any of these mystical and magical events. Issei looked up at Drake as he gained a more serious look in his eyes and stepped forward. Drake, what am I supposed to do? If I become that dragon. I'll kill everyone and anyone, I'll become a monster. I don't want that. I want to protect everyone. Even Rainer. That's stronger in mind and body to control the souls inside of the sacred gear when they use the forbidden and cursed technique of the Juggernaut drive. Only then will you gain control of my power. Your heart is strong, your will is almost unbreakable. Your sense of love is new to me. It will be interesting to have you as a partner. You only have tapped into 1% of my power. Flames started to blaze around the entire realm and divide Drake and Issei, showing that it was almost time to go. Issei stood determined and strong, he was sure of himself. Hyoudou Issei. What is it you desire from my power? What is your drive? Your ambition to stand and fight on? I want to protect the ones I care about from danger. I want to gain power and the control of that power so one day I can become a harem king. A harem king. Well, I can say it is not impossible since those with the power of the dragon attract females from far and wide. The aura is like an essence, a pheromone. All previous wielders of me were surrounded by women. You are indeed an interesting partner. This will be fun since you are so different. Become stronger partner and we shall achieve your dream. The flames completely consumed Issei and Drake, all of the flames torrented and were pulled into the boosted gear that appeared on Issei's left arm. The realm shattered like a mirror and Issei woke back up in Ria's bed with Ria's on top of him. Her breasts pressed against his face and her leg rubbing a place that shouldn't be touched. Boobs. Ghh. Issei's nose splashed out a large gush of blood as he stared at Ria's busty breasts until he heard a small noise come from above by her. Hoo. Ria slowly shifted and lowered herself to face Issei, her sleepy eyes looking into his as she left out a small yawn while covering her mouth. Issei's eyes were busy watching her breasts bounce to notice she was watching him. Someone is up it seems. Oh my looks like two I mean. Issei looked further down and quickly leapt out of bed and saw some of his clothes laying on the floor next to the bed. He grabbed a pair of boxers and slipped them on, turning around to look at her. Okay. I'm healed now. I feel 100% better. So put some clothes on. Issei tried to look away, but Ria's body was so damn hot he couldn't help it. He took one peek over at her, and his face turned a shade of red. You like breasts, don't you, Ice? Well, you can look at mine all you want. GHH. Issei fell down to the floor as his nose gushed another torrent of blood out. This was definitely too much for Issei to handle as he just woke up after being completely drained. He touched his stomach where Rainer struck him with that spear of light. There was no wound or even scar, the other marks on his body were scarred badly. From the bottom right to the top right of his back it was covered with some strange looking scar resembling scales. Now Ice. Don't be so rude to me. I am your master and you must look at me while I am speaking. Ria slipped off of the bed and embraced him from behind once more, making Issei tremble with mixed emotions caused by an overactive perverted imagination. Can't look at you while you are completely naked. I won't be able to focus with those things swinging around in front of my face. Ria's giggled ever so softly and stood up. She walked over to the dresser and was in the process of slipping on some black lace panties. Issei looked over at the right moment to catch a glimpse of Ria's fully bent over. She seemed to notice because she slowly slipped them on. Issei couldn't take the overload to his brain once more and had another nosebleed. I must be one lucky bastard to catch this view, it makes the other amounts of stress less off. Still though. What am I going to do about her? Ria's walked over completely dressed up in her Kuo Academy uniform to Issei and handed him the rest of his clothes. They gazed into each other's eyes for a moment and Issei saw something different before. Instead of the cold and listless gaze he was given before, he met a shimmering gaze, a gaze full of vigor. You should get dressed because you are going to do some training with us today. As it stands, your boosted gear is too much for you to handle at this time. Your physical body is that of a human's and your mental state is barely hanging on. I assure you, as a devil and a dragon you will become stronger than you can imagine. You carry in you a great power, this power could even destroy the Devil King or God if honed properly. Issei quickly threw on his clothes that were in fact a jogging outfit he had from his house, along with a pair of good sneakers to go along with it. Good, now go sit out in the main room and wait a little bit. I have some school business to take care of. Don't worry because Akeno and Rainer will be watching over you. You are too weak to go to school for right now. Issei was about to protest when he winced in pain as his left arm turned into the boosted gear out of nowhere. Rias quickly helped Issei up and out into the main room onto the couch. Akeno was standing by the desk with a strange smile on her face, while Rainer was standing beside her eyes avoiding to even look at Issei for the fear it would enrage him. Your left hand, you unconsciously gave it to the dragon in exchange for the power to kill God at the sake of your own life. It's a good thing we have Akeno who can take that power out, making your arm normal again. Akeno, prepare for a cleansing ceremony and Ice, you will need to take a shower again. Akeno opened her eyes slightly and giggled as she suspiciously skipped away to retrieve the items for the ceremony. Rainer stood there, staying silent and shifting uncomfortably at seeing the one she calls Lord now. Alright, I will take my leave now. I will send Kibba later to fetch you so we can take you to a training ground in the mountain. Do not worry, for my family practically runs the school, your absence won't cause too much trouble for you. But that Rias exited the room, leaving Issei and Rainer only in there. Akeno was busy getting ready for the ceremony as she hummed a soft song. She was definitely plotting something in her head. Rainer. I want to apologize even though I want to hate you. I just cannot, so I am sorry for putting you through that pain. Rainer's eyes widened as she fought back stinging tears that were welling up in her eyes. Her heart was beating faster as she felt something she had never felt before. It was a warm sensation that was calming and peaceful. For the first time ever, the sadistic fallen angel Rainer was feeling the emotion of love. To tell you the truth, Rainer, I still love you. I was just really hurt and well, just forget it. I have to get another shower to prepare for the ceremony. Issei got up off of the couch and walked to the shower to cleanse himself. When he walked past Rainer, he felt something tug. He looked out of the corner of his eye to find her holding onto the sleeve of his shirt. How can you say something so stupid after what I did? How can you be so forgiving to me? My sin is great. Yet. I feel inside my heart. Something. Different. Issei turns around to see her standing with her head down, tears dripping down her cheeks and onto the floor. Issei sighs and lifts up her head slightly to look at her. Rainer looks to the side and tries to avoid his gaze. I'm stupid. Yeah, I know. That's all okay though. Because I love you. Issei leaned in slightly and gently kissed Rainer on her tear-covered cheek, which made her look him in the eyes. Her face started to flush slightly as he pulled her closer, their hearts started beating faster as their lips were mere centimeters from touching. Closer. My, I never thought I would come back to see this, it's a little bit adorable. Issei, you're a real ladies man aren't you? First Ria's and now your pet Rainer TSK. Issei's face lit up bright red as he muttered over on 100 different excuses on how the scenario taking place wasn't what it looked like. Rainer let go of Issei and ran out of the room in fear and embarrassment. Akeno held her hand against the mouth as she giggled and walked up to Issei. Issei practically had a nosebleed at the sight of Akeno since she was in a thin soaked robe with her hair down and her bust sticking out almost. It was also a little too short around the hips for his own comfort. The robe was so soaked that bare skin could have been seen in the right light. Issei, you have to prepare too, if it must be done. I can always cleanse you in the shower myself. Issei quickly ran into the shower and turned on the cold water, covering his body in it as he made a small chant to God to ease his perversion. I am not a pervert. Namu naya fuck that hurt. Issei felt something like glass go through his very brain, it made him fall down in the shower until Akeno appeared behind the door, which made him immediately get back up. Issei dear, when you finish in there put this on after and we will start the ceremony. Issei waited for Akeno to leave to turn off the water and step out of the shower. Hanging on the rack was a towel that you would wear at a bathhouse. You have got to be fucking kidding me. Issei admits defeat and begrudgingly puts on the small article of clothing, stepping out into the main room and sitting on the couch. Good. Now to get rid of the power and turn your arm to normal. I have to suck out the power. Did she say suck as in sucking on something? No damn it Issei, down boy. It's not like a perverted fantasy. Your mind is just going apeshit. Calm down. Nah. Ahaha no not again. No more praying that hurt like hell. Issei didn't notice Akeno was down below him practically between his legs when he did, his face being flush once more and a little bit of blood dribbled out of his nose. I have to suck the power out of your finger of your left hand. I will be removing the dragon essence within to seal your boosted gear. Are you ready? Akeno grabbed Issei's left hand and licked the fingertip of his index finger erotically before pushing the digit into her mouth. She made obvious lewd sucking sounds as she sucked on his finger, making Issei immediately regretting the situation. It was obvious she was doing this on purpose. Issei was moaning out at the feeling of his finger being sucked by the ebony-haired busty beauty that was before him. Akeno, is this really necessary? Akeno looked up at him and pulled his finger out of her mouth, a long thin strand of saliva hangs between her lips and his finger. Yes and no. Your face is so cute and you make adorable sounds. It's like putty in my hand. I can't help it. I want to service you more. Your power. The dragon. When I faced off against you from that power. It was like love at first sight. For now. The ceremony. Akeno grabbed Issei's hand and roughly licked up the palm before slipping his index and middle into her mouth, gliding her tongue around them seductively. She pulled his hand up and put his arm between her cleavage, continuing her lewd assault on his fingers. She gets up and sits on his lap, pushing him down in the process. Akeno, are you not wearing anything underneath? Akeno stopped sucking on his fingers and gulps down something that sounded thick before letting out a refreshed ah. Well, of course not, silly. I can't wear anything underneath for the ritual to work. Besides, I don't mind it and I know you don't. Biba suddenly walks in to pick up Issei and sees the sight in front of him, which made him stop and give a slight chuckle. Issei, I thought you liked me better, that's no fair. Issei's eye twitched as he looked over Akeno to see Hyoudou, the handsome prince, standing there with a smile. Where the hell did that come from? I will seriously hit you, bastard. Akeno felt a little disappointed she couldn't tease her new favorite toy some more and gets up to go to the spare room and get dressed. Issei watched her leave and then looked over at Kiba with an annoyed look. Issei quietly gets up and goes to another spare room to go change into his jogging outfit for the training. Little did he know that as he was changing, Rainer was in the room watching from the darkness. Her face was blood red and her eyes were wide as she watched the first man she ever loved naked. Issei stepped back out of the room once he was changed and walked up to Kiba. Alright bastard, where in the hell are we going? I thought becoming a devil would get me out of hell, little did I know, it put me in a whole other ring of hell. Issei's perspective. Here I am, just 3 days after I died and was reincarnated into a devil under a noble and beautiful young woman. Flashback start. Advanced basic training. My look was that of an idiot as I couldn't understand what they could intel since I was a newly created being. Not even knowing my own power. Sure, I turned into something to destroy God, sure I am now half dragon. Right now. I'm just weak me. Yes, Iria's Gremory, along with my fellow servants, will teach you to master a portion of your power. I believe you are a valuable piece in this situation, Ice. Now put this on. Rias pointed to a overly large pack next to 2 even larger packs, as my eyes bulged. Who? In the hell can even carry those humongous things, Kiba Kaneko? Ugh, they picked those up and are carrying it up the mountain like nothing. Ice, you need to hurry up if you don't want to be left behind. Move it, Slowpoke senpai. Dot. Ugh, gah, crushing words from Kaneko as usual. Alright, I got this. Oh yeah. Flashback end. I'm not even halfway up the mountain and I feel like my body is going to collapse. I'm gonna die on this shitty mountain. Ugh, fuck it, come on. You can't die. You got dreams. Ambitions. Maviid. Ayayaya. I made it. I made it to the top. Ugh. Cough hack shit, too much. Yup, blood. Oh no. I put too much strain on myself and opened up a wound deep inside my body, causing me to spit out blood and go unconscious. I drift into a black world filled with cerulean flame. I heard a voice, it wasn't Drake's voice. It was much softer, it vibrated. Ah, I have been waiting. You, the one who has escaped the clutches of Crimson Purgatory. We are those that walk in trembled wake. I cannot say for certain, you are too weak to face me. We are those that call blackness to etch out creation. You will surely die by my hand in the darkness of desolation. We hold the magician named True Untold. Reality breaker would seal your soul. Marduk. He has awakened, the holy of unholy justified through manifestation. I see your future, young dragon, you changed fate, you broke through your reality. Etched in darkness, light untamed, unholy desolation, those who know my name. I didn't understand what was happening, I did know I felt that intent before from Rainer. The intent to exterminate. Who was this person, a dragon? The power was more than Drake's power. Was I about to die? I closed my eyes and opened them to see breasts. Ugh. What, was it a dream? It felt so real. Wait, this is like Deja Vu Crimson Harem. It's President Ria's. She must have been healing me by sleeping naked with me again. I tried to move, but her breasts were pressed against my face with her arms around my head. Oh no, this is a horrible place to be right now, I just lost a lot of blood. I pull away from the Crimson King I call a master, and she woke up. Kuu, morning ice. She's acting like everything's normal, actually wait, why is she blushing slightly, oh no. I cover myself up with my hands as my master just giggled as she sat up, making her full breasts bounce. Okay now Ice, your training will begin and we will start by prolonging your stamina for boosted gear by vigorous strength training exercises. Alright. Strength training. That I need if I can increase the duration my boosted gear and definitely achieve my goal of Harem King. Hell yeah. Hell yeah, President. I'm ready to take anything on that you can dish out. I will become strong. I quickly grabbed my tracksuit and slipped it on with grace and speed to rival the angels. I turned around to find President Ria's already dressed up. We walked outside of the room and to the outside. There was a large rock with chains on it sitting in front of me. Okay. For our first exercise, I need Ice to put that on his back so we can chain it on. I blurted out involuntarily as the rock was more like a boulder. I died almost from carrying a backpack. Oh geez, it's heavy. The rock was sitting on my back and then the chains were fastened to me. Damn, it hurts my legs. Wait. Oh god, it got heavier. Huh. President Ria's. What are you doing, it's too heavy. I start to move when I felt her aura come out, oh no, she is getting angry. I better move. Ugh. I started to walk for what felt like an eternity in hell. My legs hurt. Next is sword training with Kiba. Hug. Kiba hit me with another blow of his wooden sword and it hurt. I go flying to the ground with another hit to my side. The pain is immense and I cough up blood. Oh man. Everything is spinning. No, that's all wrong, if you swing so randomly, you won't hit a target. Kiba says that so calmly, damn he hasn't even broken a sweat. Damn you, handsome prince. Kiba swings at me again with his sword and I bring my arm up. Ah. I parried it. Wait. So fast. Ah. My head. Ow, it hurts, I feel it bleeding. You need to focus on more than your opponent's weapon and stance. Focus on the background, you never know when the opponent would use a trump card while you are unfocused. But that Kiba made another wooden sword appear out of his left hand and brought it to hit my face and with that strike I lay on the ground. All re-bloodied again. This truly is hell. Hand to hand with Kaneko. As I received another sharp blow from her tiny fist to my stomach, I hunched down from the pain exploding inside of my abdomen. Kaneko then brought her leg up and. Phew. Ugh. Slam. Right into a tree I go, it falls over on me as my limp body hits the ground. I feel so uselessly weak. Drake, can you hear me? Answer me, damn it. No response, huh? Wait. Did the ground suddenly turn upside down? Whoosh whoosh whoosh. Peen. Ugaya. An echo threw me up in the air, then landed a hard punch deep into my right side, sending me flying across the forest until I hit a rock and lost my consciousness. Senpai is so weak. Ugh, Kaneko. Those words etched into my heart like hurt worse than the light spear Rainer stabbed me with. Demonic power training with a Keno. Yuhea. I focused my demonic energy into the palm of my hand as much as I could. Only to create a pea-sized shape no smaller than that. Akeno is so close to me, she's touching my hand, tracing it to my fingertips. Ah, her breasts are up against me. NNNGGGG, her voice is whispering in my ear, it's making it difficult to concentrate. Focus, focus, focus. Nom. She's biting my earlobe, I can't focus anymore. This feeling in my body is overwhelming, like a fire inside. It's inside my stomach. It's hot, it's so hot. It's burning. Ah. Fuas. As I screamed out, a large fire came out of my mouth and soared out of the window. I don't know what happened, but Akeno seems happy. She bites my ear again and I collapse. I can't take much more of this. Later on at the hot spring. Splash. Ah, this is the life after a hard week of training, of getting my ass handed to me. My eyes were closed and I could only hear a small sound of footsteps. I kept my eyes closed and said in a serious tone. Gibba. I swear if you act weird around me I will drown you. Something slips into the water and comes towards me from behind, closer, closer. Master. A warm and soft feeling hit my back and a pair of wide arms go around me. Her voice was nothing new to me. I blushed deeply, feeling embarrassment because we were both naked and she was hugging me. I gotta stay strong. Besides, Rainer won't try anything right. Rainer. Why are you here? Rainer held onto me tightly, she was keeping her face against my back. I felt something unusually warm on my back. It was wet. Tears. No, could this be? Blood. Rainer, you're bleeding. I turn around and look at her, she is smiling with her face red and tears of blood running down her cheeks. She opened her eyes and looked at me, her eyes showed great pain. I then felt a cold chill up my spine as she spoke words that crushed my heart. Will you die for me? Instantly it was like time had stopped, I felt a familiar sensation in my stomach through my back. A large hole was created as I could be seen through. The attack hurt, it felt like my power was draining. All I heard afterwards was the deep voice of someone. Rainer looked at my dying body and died. I'm going to die again, this is it. My consciousness receded into blackness. You cannot die, I have too much faith in you, the one who breaks the web of fate. My vision filled with cerulean flame that cascaded around me, the voice was familiar. Is he going to give that power? I am going to help you, if you die my plan will be ruined. The White One decided to attack early. I did not expect this drag, awaken. It has been a very long time since I have seen the likes of you, the human Joshu, the one who became the prison of Khaos Chronos Nurkos Gate Dragon. The Dagon Dragon Marduk. Your partner's body is still frail, I cannot accept this. He has not earned my power though, he will die if I do not do something. Unless you wish for a stronger host. This host, while he is weak, does not drown in my power, he seeks to unlock its potential to the true point. I believe the White One has discovered this. I did not expect the Reality Breaker to seek out my power. Reality Breaker? What the hell were they going on about? I can't talk or see them. I hear them though. My prophecy has been fulfilled and it is time I slumber eternally, only the power of Crimson Purgatory can seal away Marduk. The Necro Gates are opening now that a Reality Breaker has been created. By that boy overcoming Juggernaut Drive, he has set this world into a new order of chaos. It will be interesting. I will allow you to save his life using that, I do not think he is ready though. I believe he is, now time to pray. Praying hurts devils, no, please don't pray for me. He is going to do it. The first seal will be removed. The end of days is here. The Reality Breaker will rise again. Shadow, born of blackness and hate. It's starting. Oh mass of excerpt, the mind-numbing pain shatters. The first seal is being removed. The days of Necros have begun. Swirling, eviscerated in the ashes of indigo flame. It is time. Marduk. He has awakened. The holy unholy justified through manifestation. The bright light flashed around and before I knew I woke up floating in the hot spring. The area I had a hole blown through was closed, though it was clear there was a mark before. Rainer was nowhere to be found. Rainer, why Rainer Ii? I have to get stronger, damn it. I have get stronger and save her, those were true tears. I felt her sadness, what is this White One? Flash. I wake up in the hot spring, my body is completely normal. Nothing seems different. Nothing feels different. Was it all a hallucination from being in the water too long? I get up from the water and look around then at my body. What the hell was that? I mumble to myself and turn around to see some limbs from a tree above the spring falling. Huh, those are some is the tree moving, wait, what is that? Crumble crumble. Snap. Ugh. Crash. Splash. Rainer had fallen out of the tree and onto me, which made me then fall down into the water again. She was on top of me, on top of my waist. Nosebleed. Gah. Wait, why was she in a tree? I look at Rainer. Why were you in a tree? Rainer's face turned crimson and she looked away slightly. For a sadistic fallen angel she does have a cute shy side. It's really adorable. Was just making sure you weren't being attacked, so I hid in the tree watching you. Watching, did she? Was she peeking at me taking a bath? I were peeking on me. Was not doing it to be perverted, you lecherous dragon. Rainer screamed out and then her eyes widened with fear, she took her hands and covered her mouth. Is she scared? Why? I thought it was funny so I laughed and smiled. Ha. I like this version of you better. You're not as serious with the whole pet thing. Maester. Lord High. I put my finger against Rainer's lips to stop her from speaking. Oh, she has such a cute expression. From now on, call me Ice. If you think you can't, then I command you. I smiled triumphantly at myself saying that word. Commando, it's such a wonderful word in this situation. Oh no, if this keeps up with her on top of me, waiter clothes. I can see her breeze, so this is the best thing ever. Ice, you are making a very lewd face and I. Tap. Rainer stopped her sentence as her face turned really red, and I know why. Oh god, I'm going to get slapped. Oh gee, I mean oh. Oh devil, please let me get out of her alive. So I want me to do that. My eyes widen and I just stutter at a remark. Wait, is she? She's taking off her clothes. This is so great. I mean, this is so bad, so bad. Ice. I love you. I know I am not pure, but Ice will enjoy my experience. I can't do this. Rainer. Grab. Yeah. Zoom. I get up as quickly as possible, making Rainer drop into the water. Oh no, this wasn't right. I ran as fast as I could to my room naked. I didn't care. Rainer, not being a virgin or really even shy, would possibly become a problem for me. Even though she is a pet and does love me. Issei's perspective over. It has now been about 2 weeks since Issei's advanced training began. Lately at nights after the hot spring, Issei trains with Drake to increase his power. Issei had his hands on his knees as he was panting from exhaustion. Beads of sweat dribbled down his face and onto the ground. Channeling the demonic energy inside of him after being practically beaten and sore all week was catching up to him quickly. Issei clenched his fists hard and closed his eyes as he tried to relax his breathing. Damn, I'm still weak. I can't do anything. My body hurts. You are weak because you do not believe in yourself. Your potential grows according to your thoughts. They manifest the power within the sacred gear. So, you're saying that with sheer will I can become stronger? I can surpass Kiba, Akeno, even Kaneko. Your will is stronger, though it is not tempered. Eventually, without the necessary confidence, the power will overcome you and you will go into the corruption state of the Juggernaut drive. Issei slowly lifted his head to the sky and opened his eyes as he breathed out the crisp and cool mountain air into his lungs. He closed his eyes once more and breathed in deeply, focusing his energy as it started to swirl within him. Slowly the aura of energy could be felt coming out of his body. With his eyes filled with determination and the aura of the dragon sparking from his soul, making his eyes glow a tint of green. I just need confidence. In myself. Issei gripped his fist tight and clenched his teeth, trying to force his aura to push out more. The ripples of intense energy could be felt within him prominently and push out to form out of control massive aura. Confidence. Slowly he felt his aura start to move along his body, the circuits of energy flowing to his left hand and gathering more. The aura expanded out with a loud hum that soon covered up to his left shoulder, the middle of his hand glowed green. Focus, I want power. I want the power to protect. The power to defend. I wish to control. To hone this power. I will become stronger. This is my desire. I do not wish to drown in power. I wish to control. The energy glows with a green and red shine to it, mixing and swirling around his left hand. He brought it up in front of him. His eyes shined brighter as the glowing increased around his left arm. Pain shot up through Issei, but he tried to ignore it so he could push past his limit. Inside of his mind he was calling for power to manifest with all of his will. Sacred gear, listen to my will, grant me power. I wish to become stronger. I wish to become someone useful. Issei felt the extreme power build more and more, the area around him was slowly being ripped apart by the massive aura being emanated from the high school boy. The ground caved in and cracked, the leaves were being blown off the tree as the trees shook. Issei took a stance and screamed loud enough so that the heavens could hear him. Sacred gear. The area around Issei became more violently windy from his uncontrollable aura, the energy on his left hand becomes dense and manifests the boosted gear. The green jewel shined with a dull shimmer. Boost. 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 This isn't enough. Come on. More power. I want to protect. I gave up my arm. I gave up my life. Now show me my reward. Come on, sacred gear. The jewel started to glow brightly and hum louder until a loud sound came from the boosted gear, which made Issei feel another explosion of power build into him. He started to feel heavy and dizzy as the power was becoming overwhelming. Issei tried to keep hold of himself, he felt that he was about to pass a barrier. Something inside of the sacred gear started to change. Dot. Boost. 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 First evolution. Power boost evolution. The gauntlet on Issei's arm grew out yellow spikes as markings also in yellow started to appear up the gauntlet. The gauntlet made a hissing sound when smoke escaped from it. The jewel on gauntlet started to die down from the glow as the transformation felt complete. The boosted gear shouted the new form and power. Dragon Booster. Just as Issei was about to test out his new power, he felt the world spinning as he fell onto his knees. He had a terrible headache all of a sudden, he felt nauseous as well, which made him clutch onto his stomach. His breathing became harder until a new sound came from the boosted gear. Burst. The boosted gear simply disappeared, leaving Issei feeling weaker than before, he was so out of it. Barely holding on to his consciousness, he didn't notice the presence that was currently standing a few feet from him. Her eyes were deeply focused on him as she kept silent in the darkness. Drag, what the hell was that? That is the power of the Dragon Booster. When your stamina is completely depleted, it will go into burst mode, which resets the sacred gear. This is a failsafe since the Dragon Booster would then take from your life force. It seems your training is paying off. Eyes. Dot. Issei turned around to face Riaz, who seemed to be watching him the entire time, her eyes looked more distant and sullen than usual. Issei wants to comment on her state of mind, but stops thinking it might not be a proper thing to do. Ah. Precedent. Riaz, you were watching me this whole time? Riaz simply nods at Issei's question and continues looking at him, her gaze was filled with depression, seeming to cloud her vibrant eyes. She made a small sigh as her gaze turned away from, and with this she finally spoke. Something has come up, it seems, we will be having a guest visit us. Be on your best behavior. Riaz said as her crimson hair flowed behind her, gracefully walking away from Issei as if she was hiding something. Something felt wrong to Issei, something felt off. Issei looked to the sky once more before walking down the mountain trail and over to the mansion in the distance. He clenched his teeth and said with determination in a mere whisper. I will protect everyone, no matter what cost. Issei was about to reach the door to the mansion when he felt a very negative omen reach him. He gulped down his saliva and turned the knob to open the door when he heard Ria's voice. She sounded extremely agitated even though her voice was normal. Riser, I do not want to marry you. Even if you say that, Riaz, you should know that times like these are hard, the amount of pure-blooded devils are low already. Issei heard the slightly beepy voice of a male and Riaz arguing about marriage, which made Issei finally open the door. Kiba was standing by the door, Kaneko was sitting on a couch away from Riaz, and the others, Akeno was currently serving the male guest tea. Ah. Your queen makes very good tea, Riaz. Riser is most pleased. Issei's left eye twitched slightly at hearing Riser say his own name as he spoke. This only further aggravated Issei at the intensified air of beepiness that Riser was showing off. Did that bastard seriously say his own name, that ego-driven douchebag? Akeno simply smiled a smile which was of slight fear and nervousness, with her eyes closed, she bowed and then stepped back slightly. Her eyes opened up only slightly when she saw Issei out of the corner of his eye. Thank you, Lord Riser. Akeno stood beside Riaz, who was looking very annoyed at the male currently playing with her hair with his arm over her shoulder. Issei felt a small amount of rage boil inside of him as he watched Riaz. She looked over at Issei and sighed as she closed her eyes once more. Ice, it seems you have arrived. This is Lord Riser Phoenix, he is the head of the Phoenix clan. One of the original clans of the 72 pillars of the underworld. Issei gives a confused look as he has no clue about anything pertaining to history of the underworld. He does know that the man named Riser gave him a feeling of dread. He was a tall man with a strange hairstyle that resembled some type of bird. He is also my fiancé. Did she say fiancé? Yes. I am the immortal Lord Riser, this must be your new addition. He looks like a pathetic devil. Riaz, do you not have any taste at all? He pathetic. I'll show that damn fried chicken. Issei's palms became sweaty as he felt that same feeling before with Rainer, the rage inside of him started to build. In his head he heard many disembodied voices whispering, their voices were everywhere and in low tones. It's time. It's is now time. There's one way only. Shut up. I'm not going to become that thing. Go away. Riser. How many times have I told you? I will not marry you. Also, don't call my adorable Ice pathetic. Now if this is finished, leave. Riaz slapped Riser's hand away, which caused his eyes to narrow in return. Riaz pushed herself away and up, standing in front of Riser she glared. Riser quickly grabbed her wrist, which made Issei feel a pulse inside of him. Heartbeat. Let go. You damn piece of fried chicken. Issei felt his rage in the form of dense energy move throughout his body, his eyes gained a slight green tint to them with his energy picking up. His body was soon covered by a bright green aura. The voices continued to speak in his head, their voices trying to smother his own consciousness. This is the only way. It will begin soon. SSHUT, up. Excuse me, what in the hell did you just call Riser? Ice. Riaz and Riser both look over at Issei, he then lifts up his head with his left eye twitching slightly. His anger increasing more and more as Riser kept his hand on Riaz. Riser gave Issei a sneer with an uncaring look in his eyes as he pushed his hair back. TCH, so this kid wants to fight Riser. I'll burn you up, you low-class reincarnated scum. I'll make sure you feel the wrath of the Phoenix. But that said, Riser's aura in the form of flames started to surround him, his energy was overwhelming and suffocating. Issei felt his resolve weaken slightly from fear, his left hand was trembling. The voices were suffocating, the aura around him swirling with intensity. Issei clenched his teeth and screamed out over the voices. He places his fist up into the air with a mighty yell. Shut up, shut up. Shut up, you damn fried chicken. Boosted Gia. With a flash of flame, Riser closed the distance between Issei and himself within the blink of an eye. Quickly his foot was brought up and slammed into Issei's stomach, making Issei cave into the kick. Bang. Hack. Aga. Issei couldn't move, it felt like his body was exploded with a large amount of pain, he coughed up blood as he fell to his knees. His eyes were wide when he looked at Riser in front of him, his foot digging into Issei's stomach. The voices were continuing in his head, his sanity was slipping away with their curse chanting. Juggernaut drive. It's the Juggernaut drive. Issei gasped for air as Riser removed his foot, he tried to stand up until Riser brought his fist to Issei's jaw with a powerful punch. Riser's fist had a small amount of his flame energy on it as it connected, making Issei fall to the ground once more. The voices didn't stop, with the events going on like they were. Issei lost his consciousness for a moment, his eyes becoming taken over by the bright green aura. Juggernaut drive is the salvation. Juggernaut drive is the solution. I, who am about to awaken. Issei grabbed onto the sliver of his consciousness and regained his composure, his eyes started to revert to normal as well as his aura. The voices in his head were starting to die down one by one, with only a few remaining and growing quieter. He felt an evil presence in the back of his mind and ignored it, only focusing on Riser in front of him. No. Shut up, boosted gear. Boost. The boosted gear hummed loudly as the green jewel became illuminated. Issei felt a surge of power in his left hand, he quickly brought it up to Riser's face. His aura at this point was tripled, yet it was dense and not wildly flowing everywhere. Inside of the green aura around him were small flickers of red every few seconds. Ooh egg. Boost 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 boost. The gauntlet made numerous noises as it hissed out puffs of steam, yellow spikes started to jut out of it from the sides. Yellow lines etched into the outline of it and Issei's mind cleared of the voices. The gauntlet became slightly thicker, with the green jewel shining more it made a noise, indicating it was fully done transforming. Dragon booster. Explosion. All I want to do is punch you in your face. You damn free chicken. Smash. Issei's left fist made contact with the side of his face, yet Riser kept his stance. He didn't even budge, he just stood there and started to laugh loudly. Issei felt his strength wavering since he put all of his might into just one punch. He couldn't believe that the punch did practically nothing to that man. You think a mere punch will stop the mighty Riser? Issei pulled his fist back as flames started to crackle from behind the gauntlet. As soon as he saw Riser, his eyes widened. He watched as Riser was slowly being healed by fire, the marks on his face clearing up completely. I am possible he doesn't even have a scratch on him anymore, so this is the power of the Phoenix shit. I feel it. Burst. But that sound Issei knew his time was up and that he was not strong enough. Mentally cursing himself in his head that he was weak and pathetic, he dropped his hand. The gauntlet disappeared from Issei's left hand, his stamina now drained and the shock on his face. With Issei's immense power of the dragon to all of his might, it was still not enough. Grab. Grip. Squeeze. Ooh fuck. Riser picked Issei up by the throat and held him in the air. Riaz was watching with everyone in silence. Riaz held her power back as well as Akeno and the others. A magic circle with a glyph appears in the center of the room. Out of it appeared a woman with silver shining hair who had a serious look on her face. Her narrow eyes scanned the room as the bright crimson light disappeared along with the magic circle. I have been sent by the Mayu, Surzich's Lucifer, my name is Grafia. Why has my brother sent you here? The silver-haired woman named Grafia looks over to Riaz and company, her voice became more serious as she pointed to Riser and Issei. Her eyes gaining a dangerous look to them, her aura coming out as she glared at Riser. Riser, I have been sent here to make sure you do not cause any trouble in the human world while you are here. With that being said, put the boy down and act like the noble you are. Riser quickly let go of Issei, making his flames disappear in the blink of an eye. With a beepy smirk he put his hands up and walked back over to Riaz, who he tried to put his arm over her shoulder. Riaz simply removed his hand with a disgusted look on her face. If the one who holds the title strongest queen gives me an order, to reject it would be a mark on Riser's life. Issei was watching what was going on with an annoyed expression on his bruised face. He wanted to punch Riser again just for him saying his own name. Issei couldn't move much or speak, so he glared and spoke in his head. Seriously? Stop talking like that, you fucking fried chicken. Grafia tones down her energy and looks at Issei on the floor. She walked over to the boy, which looked back up at her. Her eyes seemed to be studying him, glancing over at him. She then walked back over to the middle of the room. Lord Riser, you have been given a summoning request by Surzich's, you must come with me at once. Also, Lady Riaz. In the future you should teach you pawn to behave in the sight of nobility. Riser made a small noise out of annoyance and walked over to the Grafia, who summoned a magical circle which they transported. Before they left, Riser made a smirk to Riaz. Riser looks forward to seeing you next time, my lovely future bride Riaz. Is for you. Pawn. Riser will make sure you pay for striking him next time. Issei watched as both of the guests were swallowed by a bright crimson light. With them both gone, the magic circle disappeared. Issei was in deep thought, trying to understand the words that were thrown around. Pawn? Why is everyone calling me that? Wait, that bird bastard called the woman named Grafia Queen Pawn. Queen. This sounds oddly familiar. Issei made his way to stand back up, his eyes seemed to be dark and blank. He seemed like he was in deep contemplation about something. Riaz approached him and stood in front of him. Issei closed his eyes as he felt like he was going to get punished for causing such a commotion. Instead, his eyes opened wide when Riaz embraced him. Don't worry me like that. Do you know how I would feel if you died? Issei blinked and stood there as his mind seemed to clear. Just having Riaz hug him made him understand the events that took place earlier. Why she was acting so weird and why she was looking so sad. Riaz, she seems so scared she's shaking. I'm sorry. President Riaz. So this was why you had that look. President, I'm fine really. I was just worried about that bastard. He has no right to do that. By the way, what is this 72 pillars thing? Kiba walked up to Issei, who has then released by Riaz. His eyes seemed serious this time as he spoke. Kiba's eyes had a troubled look to them as he looked at Issei. It personally made Issei feel uncomfortable. The tone he spoke in was also serious. Issei listened as best as possible. The 72 pillars are the original bloodlines of the pure-blooded devils. Now there are less since the Great War and the fact that most lost their name because of the mixed heritage. Among the most known ones are the Phoenix and Gremory. So, to keep the heritage of some clans pure, they have arranged marriages. So, Riaz doesn't love that bird bastard. Kiba looked over to Riaz and spoke in a slightly lighter tone, his usual smile appearing again with his eyes closed. He looked over at Issei with that smile and look in his eyes that seriously bothered Issei. Issei let out a shiver and grimaced at Kiba with an uncomfortable look in his eyes. I didn't expect the Red Dragon Emperor to lunge out at the Phoenix. It was surprising to say the least. I didn't expect him to land a punch either. It seems Ice has actually improved a bit. Issei was shocked to hear these words as he felt that he had accomplished nothing during the training. Although he still wasn't able to actually damage Riser, he did land a solid punch. He had to admit himself it was impressive, though he did worry since inside of himself he felt like something else was there besides Drag in him. It gave him a very uneasy feeling inside of himself. For a moment when he lost his consciousness, he saw indigo eyes everywhere around him covered in a cerulean flame. The same flame that was in his dreamt hallucination earlier in the week. I fear Ice's small argument will have caused some problems in the future, just be aware that Riser's ego will make him want revenge. Riaz spoke up, which made Issei stop his moment of thought and direct his attention at her. Now he felt a little guilty for causing such a commotion in the first place. Issei quickly spoke up and bowed to show his apology. President Riaz. I am truly sorry for acting the way I did. Riaz looked over at Issei as she sighed. She took Issei by the face and lifted his head up so he could look at her. She was smiling and the brightness was brought a bit in her eyes. Her expression was still that of a worried one, but she looked genuinely happy. Her voice was kind and like silk to Issei's ears. Ice, it's okay. In a way I'm glad you did what you did. It was like a knight in armor coming to save a princess. I'm truly happy. You need to understand though, you aren't strong enough to face Riser. In the end we were lucky Graphia showed up since Riser could have even brought his servants. Issei's face was slightly tinted a light pink as he looked into Ria's beautiful shimmering sapphire eyes and cracked a beepy smile. He felt courage well up inside of him as he spoke with his eyes looking into Ria's eyes. Then I have to get strong enough to take that fried chicken out. Ria's eyes widened at that statement and her smile rose more on her lips with her cheeks now becoming tinted. She saw Issei's strength and will in her eyes, her let out a small laugh. Letting go of Issei's face she then leaned in and kissed his forehead. Hiss. Sparkle sparkle. Since you're so determined to get stronger, then here is a good luck charm. Issei's face became a slight now red as he rubbed the back of his head awkwardly. His face returned to normal as he asked the question that was bugging him earlier. By the way, I was called pawn and Akeno was called queen, what was that all about? Rias then remembered that during training to become stronger, she never told him about the main attributes of the devil world of the evil pieces program that was inside of Issei. She pondered how to explain it to Issei, she was thinking deeply. It's better to just show than explain. Ice looks like hands-on type anyways hands-on type. Maybe him yes that could work. MHM. Rias was so deep in thought as she didn't notice she was actually talking out loud. Everyone started watching Rias as she continued to mumble not too quietly. It was until everyone heard the word virginity which made Akeno speak up. Now, Rias you are talking out loud again. Rias jumped slightly as embarrassed expression took over her face with her eyes wide. She looked around and everyone and then at Issei who had looked away. Rias eventually regained her composure and cleared her throat. Ahem. Now, Ice, I think it would be better to show you than explain unfortunately. So, you will have to wait until we fight. Issei nods and then yawns as he stretches which makes Rias look over at the rather large clock on the side of the room that showed 12:30 on it. Rias shakes her head and looks over to everyone else. Alright everyone, get some rest because tomorrow we go back to school. Issei, you will also be attending school. I will be talking with my family about a living arrangement for you and Rainer. Since she is your guardian I will have her living with you, understood? Issei's face dropped and his mouth hung open as several perverted fantasies filled his mind at once. It was overloading his brain and making his face look very lewd and lecherous, to the point he was even drooling. Senpai is drooling. Haneko says with one eye open as she slowly munches down on a rather large-looking cookie. Issei quickly regains his composure and looks over at the small girl, behind her leaning against the wall was Rainer. Rainer and Issei made eye contact for a moment until Rainer slightly blushed, then looked away. Rias spoke up again which made the two blushing people direct their attention to her. Also, to keep an eye on Rainer while we are at school, I have decided to ask my brother if she could join Kuo Academy. While she is here, she will be under an alias and be posing as your cousin. With that being said let's get some rest. Yes President Rias. With that everyone started to walk to their rooms, while saying goodnight to one another Rainer split off from the rest of the girls. She was silently walking behind Issei who was now in his room. Before Issei could turn around to shut the door, Rainer pushed him and slammed the door behind her. She locked it and leaned against it, her breathing was hitched in her throat. What the hell? Rainer. Issei turned around to see Rainer in the darkness, her cheeks were stained red, her violet orbs were glazed over. She had a slight wobble as she was against the door, her hands were clutching her face. She ran her tongue over her lips as she looked at Issei with lust. Rainer, are you drunk? Rainer quickly leapt onto Issei and pinned her prey down by the wrists, she brought her face close to Issei's. The smell of sour grape slipped over her tongue as she licked up the side of his face. Making Issei's cheeks flush a deep crimson color as he completely froze. Ice, do you really love me? Or should I say master? Her words were sultry as she whispered them into his ear before giving his earlobe a bite and a small playful tug. Her breasts were pressed against him with only the thin leather keeping them from being exposed. Her leg with between Issei's, rubbing against his crotch as she started to kiss his neck softly and slowly. Issei breathed out a breath of hot air and let out a small moan before the drunk woman before him. Rainer. What? Issei couldn't think of anything to say as Rainer gave him a firm nip on his neck, her fang-like canines digging into the flesh. Issei winced as Rainer pierced her teeth through his skin and let out a noise of pain. His eyes became wide as Rainer's body started to glow a bright red as she gulped down his mixed blood. Gulp. 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 N. Rainer pushed away from Issei's body, his blood running down her lips as she had her head held up. The red glow started to fade, leaving black markings in a Nachian script on her arm. She opened her eyes and looked down at Issei. Issei could help to feel the situation, and the look on Rainer's face was very erotic. Rainer quickly fell asleep. As she lost consciousness, she fell back on top of Issei. Issei held her there with a small smile pressed on his lips as he too soon fell asleep. And so how was this story? I hope you like it. And if you like it, share this story with your friends and like the video too. And don't forget to subscribe our channel for daily awesome fanfiction. Okay, it's time for me to go. Bye bye.